Good afternoon, and I want to thank everybody for being here today. As you know, crime rates have rapidly increased across our nation and our state, primarily in our urban areas. This increased wave of violent crime in Missouri, in Missouri's urban areas, must be addressed. Part of Missouri has already experienced more homicides in 2020 than what was experienced in the entire year of 2019, putting us on track to have our deadliest year on record. In St. Louis, there were 186 homicides in 2018. In 2019, there were 194. And as of yesterday, they have already had 161 homicides in the city so far this year. Despite increasing murders in the city, fewer charges have been filed over the past 3 years, creating a significant backlog of cases. In the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department reports that only 33 homicide cases have been charged so far this year out of 161. Only 40 were charged in 2019 out of 194, and 61 in 2018 out of 186. This demonstrates a disturbing trend of not going after murderers, which deprives victims of justice. Legislative measures must be taken to further address violent crime in Missouri and protect our citizens. So today, I am expanding the call to special session on violent crime to include a new provision to assist with the growing backlog of murder cases in St. Louis. The proposal legislation supplements the Circuit Attorney's Office by allowing the Attorney General's Office to take on some of these cases that have not been prosecuted. I want to be clear, this is not about taking away authority. It is about fighting violent crime, achieving justice for victims, and making our communities safer. Many other states with local prosecutors have enacted checks and balances between the Attorney General and the local prosecutors. Our proposal does not go as far as other states have gone. Under this proposal, the Circuit Attorney still has full and fair opportunity to prosecute murderers. The proposal does not allow the Attorney General to supervise or replace the Circuit Attorney. The Attorney General will be able to prosecute cases only if 90 or more days have passed since the murder was committed. The Chief Law Enforcement Officer makes the request of the Attorney General, and the Circuit Attorney has not yet filed charges. These proposals simply dedicate state resources to help bring to justice like the growing backlog of homicide cases in St. Louis. At the end of the day, it should not matter who prosecutes a homicide case. The law and the facts are the same, regardless of what attorneys represent the state as prosecutors. The local community still has a voice in these cases under this proposal because local judges are on the bench and local jurors will decide on guilt. Again, this is about violent crime. Innocent lives are being lost, futures cut short, and families hurting. This is unacceptable, and I cannot stand on the sidelines and watch innocent people continue to be killed. These victims and their families deserve justice, and we must hold violent criminals accountable for their actions. Also today with me is the Attorney General. I'm going to ask him to come up and say a few words.
Thank you, Governor. I want to thank the Governor for his leadership in expanding this call, and we look forward to working with the legislative leaders who I know are thoughtfully considering violent crime measures here to combat violent crime in this special session. I would say this. Violent crime and homicides have reached epidemic levels in St. Louis. There's no way around it. You have the human toll here alone with mothers and fathers and children being killed. They deserve justice. And that's what this is about. This is about advocating on behalf of victims, adding capacity to those prosecutions, and bringing the prosecutorial might of the Attorney General's office to help in the city of St. Louis prosecute murderers. This proposal is limited to homicides, and it is limited. Our ability to come in is after 90 days, so the circuit attorney still has the ability to make these charging decisions. This allows us to help, and this is about an all-hands-on-deck moment. I think we need to continue to be outraged by the level of violence that we see, the number of homicides that we see. We need to have a sense of urgency. For our office, taking these kinds of cases on is nothing new. We entered into a partnership with the U.S. Attorney's Office last year called our Safer Streets Initiative, which was the first time the AG's office worked with the U.S. Attorney's Office like that, where lawyers from our office are cross-deputized as special assistant U.S. attorneys, and they've been working with the U.S. Attorney's Office to prosecute violent crime in the city. This is, as the governor mentioned, the state saying we want to bring more resources to bear. And we are fully committed in our office. Look, I'm a native. I was born and raised in the St. Louis area. I care about this state. I want my kids to have every opportunity in this state. I want the residents of St. Louis City to feel safe. And so if we can work together on this and have the Attorney General's office, again, bring those resources to bear to prosecute the most violent crimes, murders, I think it's something that should bring us together. And so in our office, we are ready, willing, and able to help and to prosecute the most violent criminals and make our communities safer. Thank you.
Kelly, I think we're going to open it up for a few questions. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go first. If you got some questions for me, I'll answer them. And then we'll have the AG come up, and we'll finish up with him. And you can just cut it off after his, Kelly, if you want. So.
Governor, have you spoken with Kim Gardner about this idea, or has she asked you for help?
I have not. We had a meeting with her early on when I went to St. Louis early on, and one of the things she did, she asked for resources back then. I think I met with her and the county prosecutor at the time, and one of the things they talked about was trying to get more resources to be able to do major cases. But that was some time ago.
So this is kind of coming from one way, from you guys, not her requesting it.
This is coming for the state of Missouri, trying to do something with the violent crime in St. Louis. No more than a partnership with the federal level, the state level, the local communities. Look, there's a problem up there, and we got to try to do everything we can to fix it.
Is this? Can I ask one more question about? Is this about the McCloskeys? You were angry about that? Is this about them?
Well, first of all, I ain't angry about anything. The fact of it is, if you write down the statistics I just give you, how many murders have taken place in St. Louis region alone for our state, that's what we ought to be focused on. That's the real problem in St. Louis. That affects our state, it affects our communities, it affects that city, it affects the businesses up there, and not to mention the hundreds of victims that are out there still are looking for justice.
Governor Parson, you said there's a backlog. Do you have any idea how many backlogs of cases there are that that the Attorney General is going to have to look at?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure, but I know in 161 they filed 33 so far. Okay. So the stats I was giving you earlier, I said they had 161 homicide cases, and this would be for first and second degree murder. So that's the backlog, whatever that is.
She was also elected once again last week. Why mess with the people's judgment? Obviously, the people of St. Louis want her in that role.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with the prosecutor taking her out of the role of being prosecutor. This is about violent criminals on the streets of St. Louis that cases haven't been filed on. You know, I think having the state in there no different than the federal government coming in trying to help, the state trying to help. I wouldn't know why anybody wouldn't want you to come in and help try to take violent criminals off the street, no matter who you are.
Do you have any thoughts on why we're seeing this surge of violent crime? It seems like not just this year, but especially this year.
Say the first part of it again.
Do you have any thoughts on why we're seeing this surge in violent crime now?
Well, I think, one, this has been an ongoing problem for some time. I don't think this is new. I think these numbers are going up, and it's getting to be a bigger concern as we see this violence going up. I think to sit around here and talk about it for another month or two is why I called a special session. Look, we got to address this issue. for the people up there and for the victims that are out there and the families that are going through this, the shootings that are happening every day and every night. We got to address this issue, and we got to quit talking about it and try to figure out what can we really put in place, all the way from boots on the ground to the prosecution to the courts. All of those different entities have to come together to fight violent crime, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. This is not a personal attack. This has nothing to do with anything other than we're trying to find violent criminals that are committing murders. That's simple. That's what this is about. I just think it's the right thing to do.
Governor will take two more questions right here. Hi, my name is Kimberly Kowalski. I am a former St. Louis City police detective. I'm a former AP reporter from Texas because I had to move there. And I had to move there because I'm a forever widow of St. Louis Police Sergeant Jeffrey Kowalski, known as Leadbelly. I'm here on behalf of Ann Dorn. Her husband was murdered during the looting.
Right.
The president is well aware of that as well. I would like for everyone here to understand that there's going to be a peace march in St. Louis, 8/29. Ann Dorn, myself, so many people across the region are coming together that I'm really getting thin. I'm hoping you too, sir, can be there, as well as you, A.G. Schmidt. And I've also disseminated some of the flyers. This is the sample. We have a Facebook page. It is known as Peace March-St. Louis. Write that down. Thank you again. Kurt, final question.
And I'm sorry to change the subject, but the president's order last night about unemployment benefits, are you willing to use the CARES Act money that the state has to supplement that $400 supplement for?
Yeah, we're working on that today. Once he just made that, we're seeing what options we have. So we're working on that. Some of my people have been working on that all day, trying to figure out what those options are. I think it's a little premature to say exactly how that's going to take place until we talk to the federal delegation and really see long-term what that plan is on that. But, we're going to try to make sure that we implement that unemployment for those people that are out there to try to as much of it as we can. But, again, we're kind of in the process of trying to get through that.
All right, thank you, Governor.
All right, thank you.
Attorney General, do we have questions for Attorney General? Kurt?
How would you feel if the feds came in without you asking for their help and kind of started taking cases away from your office?
Well, my position is that everybody ought to be working together here, that it's all hands on deck, that there are no politics when it comes to public safety, and that's my approach.
Again, Kimberly Kowalski, sir. I'd like to make certain that you heard the invitation that was extended to you, and seeing your current status of working with U.S. Attorney Jeff Jensen, could you please extend him an invite as well? This will start at 10 a.m. in St. Louis on Saturday, 8/29, and it will end at the Fallen Officer Statue. It's the Police Memorial Statue down in front of the Civil Courts building. Thank you again.
Sure. And by the way, Kurt, I would also, is Kurt still here? Yeah, I think we've demonstrated a cooperative nature there with our Safer Streets initiative. That partnership we have with the U.S. Attorney's Office, we are actually working to prosecute violent crime in federal court. So, again, I think that this is about delivering justice for victims, not about personalities.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.